Yeah.
What it is. Also, in this same verse, we're still in the first verse. You made mention of freedom fighters. Who are the freedom fighters?
Freedom Fighters Upstate. Shout out to them. Shout out to Tracy Fant, the organizer, the CEO. Um, Basically, man, what Freedom Fighters is what the name says. We freedom fighters for equality, um, all around the board. Black, white, any race, it don't matter. We fight for all. Of course, it's been a heightened sense of Black Lives Matter. Not to be confused with freedom fighters. Don't get me wrong. I ain't knocking either one, but they're two separate entities.
Okay.
Of course, it's been a heightened sense of Black Lives Matter. So yeah, we focus on that, but we focus on everything. Freedom. Tracy has led us to fight, against when people was getting, unlawfully evicted out of their homes and things like that. So whatever we feel like God is calling us to help assist in, that's where we go. We have our hand in the homeless community, and we're trying to do stuff in there, in schools, stop the violence, all of that, everything. Especially in our communities, in our local communities, because it's important. Like, don't get me wrong, yes, we have all this national stuff going on, but in my personal opinion, if we can get, and I'm gonna use us for an example, not that I'm trying to put freedom fighters on a pedestal, but if we can get people to fight for their local community, right? If you can get people in their local community all around the world to care about their local community, do you understand how much the world would change without us really having to do a whole lot? If we just care a little bit more locally, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got to worry about what's going on in New York. Not saying that what goes on in New York doesn't affect me, right?
Right.
But if I can help put an end to some of the things that go on right here in South Carolina, and then someone in New York is thinking the same way I'm thinking here, and they're trying to put an end to it there, and you got another person in another state, and you got other groups of people in other states, when we begin to care about ourselves at home, a lot of this stuff, I promise you, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be as big as it is. But I think that's the first step to it.
Before we get into the chorus, which when I first heard the chorus, I was like, yee. So before we get into the chorus, we also got the producer of the song here, Mr. Kid. Kid, this isn't your first time actually recording Just on any music before, on any other song. Well, excuse me, this is not your first time recording him. What did you see different in this recording process than you have in the past?
Honestly, man, just the real in it, like just the whole, I guess the real in it. You know what I'm saying? Like it comes from a real. All his music that he pretty much write is something that you can feel, or it's coming from him. It's coming from a place of kind of letting some stuff out. But I feel like with this one, it's more relevant to this time, and I feel like just watching him in the studio, it makes me appreciate the art of music more, because a lot of people are afraid to do this. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are really afraid to put what they really want to say in music nowadays, and they trying to please the culture. They trying to please the mainstream, artists. Or they trying to.
We're in a very sensitive
time.
Yeah,
we're in a very sensitive time, and everybody's not going to agree with what he's saying.
Right.
But it ain't for everybody to agree with.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, just being able to be on that side, the other side, where I'm like, yo, and and the thing about it is, he's never the type of guy like, yo, hit record and I'm gonna just do what I do. He always like, yo, kid, if you hear something, let me know. If you want me to change something, let me know. You know what I'm saying? That says a lot about him as an artist. So I was able to give my feedback and stuff like that I think in this song that I thought would sound good. Even just with the little ad-libs, just with the little echoes and stuff, that I think those certain words need to be implemented or kind of, facilitated a little more.
Okay.
I throw the echoes on there just to kind of, that's the thing. He makes my job easy because he gives me something to work with.
Yes.
And I definitely see, like I said, with this song, man, like I'm listening to it almost every day just because I feel it. I feel what he's saying. You know what I'm saying?
So that right there segues into my next question, and also I'll let you get the other side of the question. When you first heard him say in the chorus, "Bury me a martyr," how did you feel about that? That's a very strong statement. And my second part to that question is, why do you feel that way? You want to be buried as a martyr. There's other way. You can be buried pleasantly. Like, there's other things that you could do. Be buried.
I'm gonna let him answer first, and then I answer your question.
Because he already know what I'm about to say. I didn't even know what the word meant, bro. Like, I promise you, like, I literally was listening, mixing the song. I'm like, man, I'm hyped on the joint. I'm like, what am I saying? So he finally told me what it meant, and then maybe I'm showing my ignorance here, but I literally didn't know what it meant. You know, I've heard people say it before, but I never took the time to actually look it up and see what it meant. You know what I'm saying? So when he finally told me what it meant, I was like, okay, that's what it means. And honestly, it made the song mean a lot more. You know what I'm saying?
How would you define a martyr? Your personal opinion.
My personal opinion, one who dies for something.
Your personal definition. I'm sorry.
My personal definition, one who dies for something that's bigger than themselves. When I say bury me a martyr, I'm not saying I'm going out here looking for something to get killed.
Right.
Okay.
To be revered.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna go looking for the trouble. But I understand who God made me. God made me a defense for the defenseless, a voice for the voiceless. And that comes with a heavy price. Because when you're speaking for someone else, you can't always speak for yourself. When you're defending someone else, you don't have time to defend you. And so you get hit with a whole bunch of stuff, right? As a leader, as a father, you get hit with a whole bunch of stuff your wife and children might not see. And your job, a lot of times, is to shield them from it. Because if you don't shield them from it, you got a bigger problem. Because they can't handle what you can.
Very true.
And so what I want people to understand is, I promise you, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for fame. I am doing this because I know this is who God made me. I understand now why my mother named me Justice, why God allowed my mother to name me Justice. And a crazy story about my name is my father's name is Justice also. And I spent years running from that name because I did not like him because of the issues we had. And what I didn't understand was the enemy was using our beef to keep me from walking into my purpose. And so when I finally realized that, I had to understand, I had to forgive my father, not because he apologized and admitted to everything he did, but I had to forgive him in order to embrace justice. Because if not, we wouldn't be sitting here, we might be sitting here talking, but we wouldn't be sitting here talking about me taking this action. And so when you get that, my life is not even for me. My life ain't mine.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to accept, but I've had to accept it because, first of all, I got peace in it, knowing that. Two, I understand who God has made me, and I'm understanding more each day that I follow him, why he made me this way.
When you look at the structure of this song right here, right? And we're fast forwarding a little bit. The first verse is pretty much geared towards the gentleman that actually committed suicide.
Well, I not a correction, but let me say this about the first verse also. I told two stories in there. The story of what he was dealing with, and now the story of what I deal with. And I told that specifically, and I don't mean this in a racist sense, but I told those stories specifically because I want people to understand what we as black men deal with on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not trying to be sexist. I have absolutely nothing against, white people nor women. But this is my personal story, so I told it in my way.
Absolutely.
And so I told it for that, and I say this, I pray to God black men listen to this song. Because we have so many emotional issues that we have to work through, and we don't always talk about them. We don't always feel it's safe to talk about them. We don't always feel like we're around safe people to talk about them. And so I made it a point to mention some of the things that we as black men face. And that's why you hear me say, take it serious, the demons in a black man's mind. Contemplating suicide, but told Facebook he on his grind.
Absolutely. Okay, you made mention to Facebook, right? I had this conversation with someone earlier. At one point, I used to look down on people, not down on people, down on the act of venting on social media. So then I actually sat back and I looked at it. What if that random post is actually furthering them? Like someone actually chiming in saying, you know what, it's going to be okay.
Versus, and that's what some people need.
Right, that's because they may not be able to.
I thought the same way.
They may not be able to articulate themselves in the room how we're in currently, or feel comfortable enough in a room to be like, you know what, I'm dealing with something.
Mm-hmm.
But see, what it's just my phone, it's just me and this keypad.
Yeah.
And I literally can cut it off. I don't even have to look at the comments. But see, when I looked at it that way, I was like, I actually called one of my my young homeboys. He was like, yo, Mo, I never thought about it like that. This might be their confession. This might be the only time they get that thing that you said, the demons, they get it out. And they're able to see another 24 hours. So yeah, what you did there was definitely important, and I hope that actually registers to those who
I
actually
hope so
listen
too.
to.
And that's another reason we doing the sit down. Is because it's to put it out there. I want you to. This is why I want you to listen to it.
The culture, bearing me a martyr. They keep asking why I